Today on Art Scene we'll feature an infusion of arts in our council districts with the Imagine 2020 District Challenge, a Mayor's Awards for Excellence in Arts and Culture winner, Denver Public Schools Shakespeare Festival, a narrative poem by Brenton Wahey, Multiplicity, an interactive arts experience coming to town, Meow Wolf, and a temporary art installation at Civic Center Park, Tree of Transformation. Hey, I'm Bobby Lefebvre with Art Scene. Late last year, Mayor Hancock challenged members of City Council to infuse arts and culture in their district. In response to the challenge, projects have popped up all over the city. We're here on 38th Avenue in District 1 with Ginger White, who is the Deputy Director of Denver Arts and Venues. Ginger, thank you so much for talking with us.
Thanks for having me.
So the Imagine 2020 District Challenge, talk to us a little bit about what it is and how it was started.
Sure. Well, the Imagine 2020 District Challenge was a way in which we wanted to celebrate the midway point of Imagine 2020. And so what we did is we gave every City Council member, all 13 of them, $2,020 to implement an arts project in their district. And it was everything from the great mural that you see on the wall here to fantastic performing arts and Zumba classes in some of the other council districts.
That's awesome. Yeah. So what's the goal of getting into the districts, especially the ones that may be traditionally underrepresented, underserved? Why is it important to have these projects in those districts?
Sure. Well, Imagine 2020 is Denver's cultural plan, and it's based on 7 vision elements. And one of those vision elements is vision element number 3 around access. And so we want to make sure that all Denver residents have access to arts. So if you're driving down 38th Avenue here, you get to see this great mural. So we want to make sure that it's vibrant and alive in all parts of our city, which really gets to vision element number 1, which is getting art integrated into everyday life.
So, Ginger, we're here in District 1. What do you know about this mural?
Well, this was a really fun project because we had 2 local artists who worked with Councilman Espinoza to come up with this idea and concept, and then they asked for photos and images from the community to actually paste on the wall. So it gets to vision element number 5, which is celebrating local talent. And so again, we had 2 artists who are part of this project. What it does is really take a blank canvas here on this busy street, give it some life, and obviously talk about the neighborhood, which is changing so dramatically.
And what were some of the other projects that popped up across the city?
Well, Bobby, there was a great variety, and it was really fun to see how council members took that $2,020 and what they did with it. So some examples that we saw are the ferry doors down on South Pearl Street. We had 2 council members team up on an idea, and they had a textile display down in East Denver. We also had the culvert in Montbello painted with the local artists and the community, which was also really exciting. We also had those electrical boxes that, you know, take up the cityscape. Yeah. Those were painted in District 4 with fun animal heads, also with the local artists. And then Councilman Ortega used the funds to bring in some performers into an elementary school, and they had a special day with talent there. It really was everything from visual arts to performing arts to fabric and textiles as well. It was great.
Good stuff. The mayor, this is a really cool project. He was able to kind of like, you know, play along and pick his favorite projects. What was it like for your office to work with the mayor and for, you know, the projects to sort of come to fruition?
Sure. Well, it was a lot of fun for the staff to brainstorm this idea. It was really a vision of theirs to say, we're at this exciting time in Imagine 2020. So how do we celebrate that, and how do we get those ideas out in other parts of our city? So we asked the mayor to issue a challenge to all 13 council members to make sure that they knew this was a project, and really kind of threw down the gauntlet to say, surprise me with your creative ideas in your district. And they did. And so I think throughout that process, our staff worked with council members, helping them try to get some ideas. Obviously, our Denver Commission on Cultural Affairs was highly involved in this process. And so it was really great to see how they've championed arts, culture, and creativity in their community. Arts can really engage a community, make it more resilient, make it a way in which we come together as a city and as a community. And so we see it as a great vehicle.
Thank you for talking with us, Ginger.
Thanks for having me, Bobby.
So, who will win the big challenge? And now we're here with Councilman Jolon Clark and Michelle Brown, who's one of the artists for Fairy Doors. This is, of course, a project from the Imagine 2020 District Challenge. Thank you so much for chatting with us. I just had the opportunity to take a look at a couple of these, and they're really, really cool. Talk to us a little bit about the process and how they came to be.
Started with the mayor throwing down the 2020 challenge and calling for an art project in every district. And this was something that I had seen in Ann Arbor, Michigan, and always wanted to bring to my district. And so I reached out to local artists like Michelle, and we started working with local businesses to see where we could put these fairy doors.
And Michelle, so I understand that there are 13 businesses where Fairy Doors have been located. How many of these did you do, and what was the process like?
So I did 5, and it was really enjoyable. I met with the business owners first and kind of got a feel if they had a vision for their door or not. And some, like Duffy Roll, just didn't. He said, do whatever. I really love the front of their business, so I wanted to mimic that. And so I really just kind of drew the plans in my head and then started to build and paint and create.
How did you end up here on South Pearl?
We were looking across the district as where is there a place that is public space but also has that commercial feel and a very walkable community where people are out with their kids, and so Pearl Street just seemed to make sense.
And so now that they've been sort of installed and are around for people to take a look at, what has the reception been from folks that are walking by? Have you heard anything about what folks think about them?
Yeah, people love them, and not just the people who are walking by with their kids or coming down from across the city to visit Pearl Street, but the merchants really love them. And so we've applied for a second grant and got it, and we'll be putting another 10 to 15 doors in, and the merchants are just in love with it. Everybody wants a fairy door at their business now on South Pearl.
All right, so Michelle, is this the first time that you've made fairy doors? Is this something that you've done in the past? How did that work for you?
Yeah, I had actually never made a fairy door before, but I am an artist, a painter, and muralist, so I knew it was something I could do, and it was fun, great experience.
Was it challenging or different for you as an artist?
It was a learning curve, but and challenging in its way, but I think they worked out.
This, of course, is hopefully going to be a continuing thing. Any ideas for what in the future you may engage with if you're asked to infuse arts and culture in your district next year?
I don't know. I would love the opportunity to do it again. And I think, hopefully the fairy doors will spread. There's been talk of now maybe troll doors in alleys will start popping up around the district. Cool. But any chance that we have to put art in the community where people are and enliven these public spaces is always a great opportunity.
Is there anything else about the project that you'd like folks to know? Any specific, anecdotal thing that you came across during the project, or anything else you'd like folks to know about Fairy Doors?
I think I learned that there's a huge fairy following that I didn't know before. And even when I was buying the materials at Home Depot, the cashier gave me a hug because she was so excited that I was building a fairy door. Oh, wow. So that was pretty cool.
That's amazing.
And I would encourage everybody in the city to come down to Pearl Street and just start looking for fairy doors, because there will be new ones popping up every day, and they're really fun, they're really exciting, they're really engaging. So come visit Pearl Street.
They're great. Well, thank you so much for chatting with us.
Thank you.
Thanks.
So who is the big winner of the Imagine 2020 District Challenge? We'll find out later in the show. And speaking of winners, last year we featured Denver Public Schools Shakespeare Festival on our show. And now they've won a Mayor's Award for Excellence in Arts and Culture.
The Shakespeare Festival takes over a good little chunk of downtown. We start over in Skyline Park, and then we parade down 3 blocks. We have about 5,000 students at that time. We have about 3,600 students that actively participate with performing in the festivals. All those costumed students and chaperones parade down into the Performing Arts Complex.
In DPS, parents will visit the schools and they'll ask, do you offer this, do you offer athletics? And invariably there's the question of, do you take kids down to the Shakespeare Festival? It's kind of expected.
It's a beautiful chaos of elementary students, middle school students, high school students in tunics and with styrofoam swords. A wonderful sense of telling stories that are enduring to the kind of the human condition.
I have been to the Shakespeare Festival before. I was Juliet. It was fun. My favorite part is getting to see how different people do the plays in different ways and their approach to it.
I like that we just get to see a whole bunch of scenes and you also get to do yours so you can compare yours to others.
When you go to a regular play, you only see one play, but when you go to the Shakespeare Festival, you see all these different kinds and different plays.
I just think it's a great way to all come together as a drama community.
The excitement level is crazy. I mean, to walk downtown inner city Denver and see so many different makeshift costumes.
It's been going for 33 years and it's this strong tradition. It's one thing to see it and hear about it, and it's another thing all its own to experience it and be there in person. The notoriety of Denver and the visibility of Denver, with this being the largest Shakespeare festival for students in the country, then especially for accessibility, where this is a free festival for all students within Denver Public Schools, and it's the generosity of our partners that make that possible.
It represents Denver's youth. I mean, it's guiding them in the right direction with an appreciation for what's there and a love of just being able to be on stage. There's nothing like having an audience show appreciation for something you've worked really hard at.
Great work from Denver Public Schools. We'll be back with more Art Scene on the other side. Welcome back to Art Scene as we take a look at all the wonderful art from around our city. There's a new interactive temporary art installation at Civic Center Park, Tree of Transformation.
I've heard it described by the artist as a toy. It's an old antique piano with a tree growing out of it and steel pans up top that are activated once you play the keys.
This is the Tree of Transformation. It's the second in a series of interactive musical trees that myself and Ryan Elmendorf came up with, and we took the insides of the piano out and replaced it with electronics. There's a twisting steel trunk that comes up and forms a canopy of steel, and at the end of each branch is a set of 9 steel pan drums that were handcrafted in Trinidad Tobago.
We're excited about Tree of Transformation at the Conservancy. It's our first foray into temporary public art in Civic Center, to be able to use as an attractor into the space in a time when otherwise there's not a lot of activity in the park. And so through the winter months and through April, we're really hoping the public comes out and plays with the toy that we put up for them.
The inspiration for the tree kind of goes back to my daughters have this small toy piano, and just playing around on that, I thought it'd be really interesting to take kind of the idea of a toy piano that kind of sprouts out and creates something unexpected and different. The best part of being able to bring this kind of art here is seeing people just kind of discover something. People just kind of walk around and notice this big sculpture and then walk up to it and start messing around with it and figure out that it does something kind of unexpected.
I gotta get out there and try that. So cool. Next, Multiplicity is a poem by Brenton Wade.
In our world, each life is a thread. the fibers of which are forged by the stories and origins of every indelible individual who makes the human tapestry indivisible, and created by the campfire flames that have always compelled us to conspire and commiserate. And even if we've moved on from the tribe, the village lives on to share in the hope of the Promethean flame. Because hope is made here, and it's made now. With each precious second, where we now count grids and blocks rather than blades of grass. Today, the torch has been passed on, and now we sow new threads of humanity across city streets. Streets where whispers flitter in our ears, speaking stories that at times the soul is too afraid to utter out loud. For the city is a haven, a respite, a solace from a sometimes solemn world that says that safety lies in building borders rather than bridges. But the faithful warriors of the municipal village say otherwise. They let colors paint the air in spectral streaks of acceptance. They let kindness line the streets so that every roadway, gateway, and alleyway will be a path to friendship. They breathe culture into speech and their very life into language so that with every inhaled breath, each citizen is transformed with a snippet of a new identity. Because that's what it means to be multifaceted. The city has no face. It has millions of them. It's the epitome of biodiversity. And whether it's in our DNA or PSAs, that diversity is what keeps us alive. For a collage has no beauty without a collision of colluding cultures. And the moment that those threads cease to multiply, the city dies. For just like humanity, from the pristine to the gritty, the beauty lies in the multiplicity.
Meow Wolf is a unique interactive experience in Santa Fe, and they're coming to Denver.
Welcome to Meow Wolf. Bienvenidos. It's nice to have you.
I've never seen anything like this before, ever. Maybe in dreams.
Maybe if I were the original Alice in Wonderland and fell through the rabbit hole, maybe that would be something like this.
It's like a million different dimensions in one building.
Is like a Salvador Dali painting.
Like a really trippy video game in real life.
Every quarter I'm surprised.
I don't think I've ever had an experience like this in all my time.
There's just so many things and so many different things to look at, to touch, to just take in.
It's interactive, it's a story.
Like I really want to at this point dig into the story because there's something else going on there.
And there's like a whole mystery pocket dimensions thing.
Murder mystery meets art installation.
This kid's face just keeps popping up everywhere and he's scaring me.
And it's really like a big mystery that you have to like put together these cool clues.
There are different levels of experience depending on your degree of consciousness.
This is like an incredibly unique place.
There's no words.
Oh, I can't describe it. It's so cool. I don't think you could compare it to anything. I think it's way cooler than anything I've seen.
It's colorful, it's playful, it's for kids, it's for adults, it's for everyone.
I don't really know how to explain it. You have to come here to yourself.
This is like the most amazing place I've ever been.
I'm so happy that I came and so blessed that like I'm able to see all this stuff and put all this stuff into my mind and everything.
If you want to energize yourself, if you want to become more creative, it's like sticking your finger in an electrical socket and becoming alive.
You have to go see it in person. Whatever I say is not going to do it any sort of justice. I can show you pictures, I can show you video. That's nothing like being the experience of actually being there. Just, you got to come check it out.
All right, and we are back with the Imagine 2020 District Challenge, and the winner is Stacy Gilmore with District 11. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Stacy, first of all, congratulations. We had the opportunity to check out a lot of these projects. A lot of them are really, really great, so congratulations. What does it mean to you to have the winning project here in your district?
You know, it's such an honor. We don't have a lot of public art in our neighborhood, and the response from the community has been amazing. And you know, really, public art brings the community together, and it has a healing component to it. It's beauty right in your neighborhood, and so it's been an awesome experience to have this recognition.
Yeah, and Pat, you were a lead artist, right? So what was it like having, it's my understanding there were more than 100 people that kind of helped make this happen. What was it like leading that?
Fantastic experience. We had about 125 volunteers. We had everyone from students to local residents to people driving by, watching us make the art. It was incredibly humbling on a lot of levels, but it was really fun because everyone, I mean, people were just wanting to be creative and they wanted to come help out. They wanted to add something to the community. On behalf of myself and like my team and creative team, like we all had an absolute blast being a part of it.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
And Stacy, you mentioned sort of the ability for art to bring people together. What does it mean to infuse art in a place like this? There's a school across the street. This is a busy thoroughway. What does it mean to have this bright piece of art in an otherwise kind of boring canal?
Yeah. Well, you know, it brings it alive, and the colors and the vibrancy, but it's just something beautiful to look at. I live right around the corner and I drive by it daily, and it's so awesome to see people down here taking pictures in front of it, groups of students maybe hanging out. We've had some groups of students shoot music videos down in the area, and so it's just great to kind of activate and create a space in the neighborhood that's so beautiful.
Yeah, and Pat, how did you guys link for this project?
I'm a public artist and muralist and digital designer and more just like a life enthusiast. So Stacy and her team and I sat down and we were talking about, all right, you know, what could we do? Let's do something to these canals. Like, let's do something to bring some life to them. Let's do something to like make them less of an eyesore and something that complements and is great for the neighborhood.
And Stacy, so you've been, you know, granted this award by the mayor. I'm sure that there's bragging rights among your colleagues. What's it like to be the winner amongst your colleagues?
Yeah, well, you know, you can't be from Montbello or Green Valley Ranch or the far northeast without wanting some bragging rights. So we're enjoying the bragging rights. And you know, it was really a surprise when we were awarded the mayor's award, but you know, it's really the icing on top of the cake because we worked really hard out here. It was lots of volunteers and we made it happen. And so I think it's amazing when you get the right folks in the mix and you've got good energy and want to do good for the community. And so it's an honor, and we'll take those bragging rights.
Great. And as an artist, knowing that, you know, there are a city council and a mayor that's interested in promoting arts in neighborhoods and places that are unexpected, what does that mean to someone like you who creates art?
I mean, I literally feel like it means the world to your soul and your gut and your heart. We couldn't be more thankful as far as like the amount of support Mayor Hancock shows for creativity and art.
Stacey, anything else that you'd like us to know about the process, the mural, what you learned from it, or what you really found, you know, heartwarming about the process?
Well, you know, there's nothing better when you're in the community and you have people driving slow with their window down, with a fist up in the air saying, yeah, right on, thank you for doing that. And so that's the best feeling, and just having folks really love it. But we've got over 8 miles of cement stormwater drainage canals in our neighborhood, and so we've got a lot more canvases. And you know, what I'd really love to see is the Montbello community is a 51, almost 52-year-old community. It's a historic African American community, but now we're majority Latino. And I would love to use public art and murals for us to tell our own narrative of who we are, who we were as a community, and where we're going, and really what we value and what we want Montbello to look like into the next 50 years through art. And that's powerful.
Congratulations, it's really great work. And maybe there'll be another one of these that we'll engage in the future.
I would bet on it. I would bet on it.
Right on. Well, thank you for talking with us.
Yeah,
you're welcome.
Thank you.
We hope we've infused you with great arts and culture from the Imagine 2020 District Challenge and more. Join us next time as we cover Warm Cookies of the Revolution, who are looking at creative solutions to the housing crisis. I'm Bobby Lefebvre. We'll see you next time as we discover more of Denver's art scene.